Imagine walking into a store with a £20 note. The cashier picks it up, looks at it, then accepts it without hesitation. But what if that money never came from the Bank of England? What if it was printed inside an ordinary building by people who understood one thing better than almost anyone else? Printing. For nearly 4 years, millions of pounds in fake banknotes quietly flowed across Britain. They passed through pubs, petrol stations, casinos, even banks. No dramatic robberies, no masked gunmen, just ink, paper, and precision. The operation became so successful that investigators believed it was responsible for a huge share of Britain's counterfeit currency during the late 1990s. And despite years of investigation, the empire was finally exposed by something almost impossible to believe. Not fingerprints, not DNA, not surveillance footage. A single advertising flyer accidentally left inside a bundle of fake money. That tiny mistake would unravel one of Britain's most sophisticated counterfeit operations. This is the story of Kenneth Mainstone, the printer who almost fooled an entire nation. Before Kenneth Mainstone became one of Britain's most notorious counterfeiters, he was simply a professional printer. His life revolved around paper, ink, colour, and precision. Commercial printing isn't just about copying an image. Every colour must align perfectly. Every sheet must move through the press with microscopic accuracy. One tiny mistake can ruin thousands of copies. Mainstone spent years mastering that craft. He owned sophisticated printing equipment at his property in Essex. To everyone else, it was just another commercial printing business. But in the wrong hands, those same machines could manufacture something far more valuable than brochures: money. Then came Stephen Jory. Unlike Mainstone, Jory wasn't an expert in printing. His expertise was something else entirely: the criminal underworld. He knew the people. He knew the buyers. He knew exactly how counterfeit money could disappear into everyday circulation without raising suspicion. Mainstone had the machines. Jory had the network. Separately, they were dangerous. Together, they built one of Britain's largest counterfeit money operations. Their target was simple: Britain's £20 and £50 banknotes. Every security feature was carefully studied: the watermark, the metallic strip, the colours, the layout. The counterfeit notes weren't perfect. They didn't have to be. They only needed to fool someone for a few seconds: a cashier, a bartender, a shop owner. And they did. Again, and again, and again. As confidence in their process grew, the presses never stopped. Every day, thousands of pounds in fake currency quietly entered Britain's economy. People spent it. Businesses accepted it. And almost no one realised that an ordinary printing press hidden in Essex was slowly flooding the country with counterfeit money. The operation quickly outgrew a simple counterfeit scheme. This was no longer about printing fake money. It was about building a supply chain. The notes weren't spent by the people who printed them. They were sold to criminal networks, often for only a fraction of their face value. A counterfeit £20 note might be bought for just a few pounds, then passed into circulation as genuine cash. From there, it spread everywhere. Busy shops, petrol stations, betting shops, nightclubs, markets. Every successful transaction gave the counterfeiters more confidence, and every successful note financed the next batch. Soon, the operation expanded beyond banknotes. Investigators would later discover counterfeit postage stamps, forged documents, and even plans to produce fake £1 coins. What had started with a printing press was becoming a criminal manufacturing business. As production increased, so did the risks. Printing thousands of counterfeit notes required paper, ink, plates, machines, storage, transport, and above all, people. Every new person added to the operation became another potential weakness. Every delivery created another trail. Every meeting created another witness. The counterfeiters believed they had built the perfect system. But every successful criminal operation leaves something behind. And police were beginning to notice a pattern. The investigation became known as Operation Mermaid. Detectives weren't chasing one man. They were trying to dismantle an entire network. Who printed the notes? Who financed the operation? Who moved the money across Britain? And who was standing at the very top? For months, investigators followed transactions, watched suspects, and connected pieces that, at first, seemed completely unrelated. Then, everything changed. On August the 14th, 1998, police raided the home of Bernard Farrier on the Isle of Wight. Inside, they discovered counterfeit banknotes, counterfeit stamps, printing equipment, and sealed packages containing uncut sheets of fake 20 and 50-pound notes. It was the breakthrough investigators had been waiting for. The raid revealed new names, new connections, and one name appeared again and again: Stephen Jory. By following Jory's contacts, detectives moved closer to the source of the counterfeit money. But the most important piece of evidence wasn't a machine or a suspect. It was something so ordinary that almost everyone overlooked it. Hidden inside one bundle of fake banknotes was a small advertising flyer, a worthless scrap of commercial printing. To anyone else, it was just a piece of paper. To investigators, it was the mistake that would bring the entire empire crashing down. The advertising flyer led investigators to a printing company. The company led them to Kenneth Mainstone, and Mainstone led them to the machine that had fueled the entire operation. When police raided his property in Essex, they discovered exactly what they had been searching for: a sophisticated Heidelberg 4-color offset printing press. The kind of machine capable of producing commercial quality prints with incredible precision. To investigators, it wasn't just another printing press. It was the missing piece of the puzzle. Mainstone denied knowing the machine had been used to print counterfeit money. He claimed someone else had operated the press, someone whose identity was never confirmed. But detectives saw a different picture. The printing equipment, the paper trail, and the growing number of connections all pointed in the same direction. This wasn't a machine that had accidentally fallen into criminal hands. According to prosecutors, it was the heart of Britain's largest counterfeit production line. While investigators uncovered the production side, they were also dismantling the distribution network. Stephen Jory continued moving counterfeit notes through trusted associates. One of them was Martin Watmuth. During one operation, police arrested Jory shortly after he handed over counterfeit cash. Watmuth was later found carrying hundreds of thousands of pounds in forged banknotes. The arrests confirmed what investigators had suspected all along. This wasn't a lone counterfeiter. It was an organized criminal enterprise. Production, transportation, distribution. Every part of the operation worked together like a legitimate business. Except its product was fake money. The trial quickly became one of Britain's most significant counterfeiting cases of the decade. Jurors heard about the sophisticated printing equipment, the forged banknotes, the counterfeit stamps, and the criminal network responsible for distributing them across the country. The evidence revealed an operation that had produced an estimated £50 million in counterfeit currency, an industrial-scale fraud. Hidden behind the appearance of an ordinary printing business, in December 1999, Kenneth Mainstone was found guilty of conspiracy to counterfeit currency and related forgery offences. The network had finally collapsed, but the damage it caused didn't end in the courtroom. The scale of the operation exposed weaknesses in Britain's banknotes. If counterfeiters could reproduce them this convincingly, the currency itself had to evolve. The Bank of England responded by introducing stronger security features into future banknotes. The criminals had forced an entire financial system to adapt, not with violence, not with explosives, not with a bank robbery, but with paper, ink, and precision. The most remarkable part of this story isn't how the counterfeiters built their empire, it's how they lost it. They spent years perfecting every detail, every colour, every line, every note. They believed precision made them invisible. But the larger the operation became, the more evidence it created. Machines leave traces, materials leave records, people leave connections, and paper always leaves a trail. In the end, one forgotten advertising flyer connected a printing company to a printer, to a hidden press, and finally, to millions of pounds in counterfeit money. The counterfeit notes fooled Britain, but the paper trail never did. Sometimes, the smallest mistake is all it takes to bring down an empire. This is Cyber Vault, where every crime leaves a trail, waiting to be uncovered.